He was cast aside by his own clan, betrayed, broken, and left with nothing. But from the ruins of despair, Yixuan awakens a forbidden power. With a sword as his destiny and his sister as his reason to fight, he will rise against fate itself. This is the beginning of the first sword god. King City, Yi Family Ancestral Hall. Honorable ancestors above, Yixuan is without talent or virtue. He is hereby removed from the position of heir. From this moment onward, Yilang shall inherit the position. An old man in a black robe murmured the words. Not far behind him stood a young man with a faint smile at the corner of his lips. It was Yilang. On both sides of the old man stood all the elders of the Yi family estate. Why? A timid voice suddenly rang out. Everyone turned around and saw a little girl of about 12 or 13, standing at the entrance of the ancestral hall. Her small hands were clenched tightly around the corner of her skirt. Her face was pale and sickly, making her look both frail and frightened. This little girl was Yilan, Yixuan's own younger sister. When she learned that the family wanted to depose her elder brother, she had run here without caring about anything, even though she was ill. The old man in black frowned. Yilan, what are you doing? The little girl bowed to the people in the ancestral hall and answered in a trembling voice. Great elder. My elder brother Yixuan is still the heir. Why are you removing him? The great elder glared at her coldly. This is an important family matter. What right do you have to interfere, slave? Yilan was so frightened that she did not dare look straight at him. But not only did she refuse to leave, she also stepped into the ancestral hall and bowed again to the elders on both sides. Elders, my elder brother is risking his life at Nanshan to fight the Lai family for the mining rights. Right now, whether he is alive or dead is still unknown. Yet the family wants to remove him without any proof. This is truly unfair, impudent. The great elder roared in fury. Our decision to depose him leaves no room for a little girl like you to comment. Men, drag her away. Suddenly, the newly appointed heir Yilang laughed. She should be punished with 30 rod strikes as a warning. The great elder said coldly, then punish her with 30 rod strikes. 2 guards from the estate quickly rushed in. Yilan clenched her fists and cried out in anger, this is unfair. My elder brother has risked life and death for the family for so many years, and even now he is still risking his life for the family. What the family is doing is unjust to him. One of the 2 guards glanced at Yilang and immediately knew his chance to show loyalty had come. He sneered. Young Master Yilang inheriting the position of heir is what everyone hopes for. What are you making noise about? His hand swung out and struck Yilan hard, slap. After that sharp sound, the little girl's right cheek swelled up, but she only raised a hand to cover it. Not a single tear fell from her eyes. Yilang watched the guard for a moment, then suddenly smiled and asked, what is your name? The guard hurriedly bowed. This subordinate is Zhang Mu. Greetings, heir. Yilang nodded in approval. Not bad. Now that I am the heir, I need 10 personal guards by my side. You will be one of them. When Zhang Mu heard this, he was overjoyed and bowed deeply. This subordinate is willing to go through fire and water for the heir. I will not refuse even death. Yilang nodded slightly. Drag her away. Causing trouble in the ancestral hall is an unforgivable crime. You understand, don't you? Seeing the killing intent rise in Yilang's eyes, Zhang Mu immediately understood. He grabbed Yilan by the hair and dragged her outside. Then, as if he saw something, his steps suddenly froze. The others also looked outside at the same time. Not far away, a young man in a torn, blood-stained, tight-fitting outfit was slowly walking toward the ancestral hall. This person was none other than Yixuan, who had just returned from Nanshan. Seeing him approach, the corner of Yilang's mouth curved into a dark smile, while the other elders kept frowning. The great elder narrowed his eyes. His expression was gloomy and terrifying, and no one knew what he was thinking. When Yixuan saw Zhang Mu clutching Yilan's hair, his face instantly turned savage. Who gave you the courage to touch my sister? The moment Zhang Mu saw him, his expression changed. He hurriedly glanced at Yilang's. In that instant, Yixuan pounced like a fierce tiger. His fist smashed straight into Zhang Mu's face, giving him no time to react. Bang. Stars burst before Zhang Mu's eyes, and his whole body swayed as though he was about to collapse, but Yixuan did not stop there. Seeing that Yixuan still wanted to rush forward, Yilang shouted angrily, "Yixuan, he is my man, you dare." Yixuan had already kicked Zhang Mu hard in the center of the chest, making him spit out a mouthful of blood. Yilang's expression became extremely ugly. Yixuan raised his head and looked at him, asking through clenched teeth, "Your man." Without waiting for Yilang to answer, his foot stomped down hard on Zhang Mu's face, turning it into a bloody pulp in an instant. Zhang Mu groaned in broken gasps, "Heir, save me." Yixuan ignored those words and walked to Yilang. His heart twisted when he saw his sister's condition. His hands clenched tightly and his whole body trembled slightly. The tears at the corners of Yilang's eyes finally spilled when she saw her brother. "Big brother, it hurts so much." Yixuan's face twisted with ferocity. In the blink of an eye, he charged back to Zhang Mu and swung his foot. Crack. Zhang Mu's head split open when it struck the stone steps, and blood sprayed out like a fountain. Everyone who witnessed this was stunned. Yixuan still did not stop. He glared at Yilang and asked in a hard voice, "You even dared touch my sister? I will slaughter your whole family." As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed forward. The great elder who was standing in the ancestral hall suddenly changed expression, presumptuous. His toe had only tapped the ground lightly when his whole body appeared in front of Yixuan. And he sent out a fierce palm strike like a roaring gale. Yixuan bared his teeth fiercely. His right hand clenched into a fist, tearing his sleeve apart at once. Then his fist met the great elder's palm head-on, boom. A deafening sound rang out when fist met palm. Yixuan was forced back to the entrance of the ancestral hall, while the great elder also retreated several steps. The others could not help clicking their tongues. In Qing Province, martial artists were divided into the first stage, the body tempering realm. The second stage, the strength refining realm. The third stage, the internal strengthening realm. The fourth stage, the concurrent cultivation realm. The fifth stage, the unceasing realm. The sixth stage, the Kai transformation realm. And above those was the Kai controlling realm. The great elder was in the Kai controlling realm, while Yixuan was only at the fifth stage unceasing realm. Though he was 2 major realms lower than the great elder, he had only fallen slightly into disadvantage. The great elder was shocked. He knew that Yixuan possessed extraordinary talent, that he had been the heir the Yi family estate focused on nurturing, and that he fought life and death battles for the family every year. But he had not expected Yixuan's strength to be this great. His wings had fully grown. Thinking this, the killing intent in the great elder's eyes grew even denser. He stared fixedly at Yixuan. "Yixuan, you dare attack the heir in front of everyone." Yixuan frowned when he heard this. "Heir," the great elder sneered. "Ah, we have not announced it yet, have we? You have already been removed from the position of heir. From this moment on, that position belongs to Yilang." Yixuan narrowed his eyes. "I have been removed as heir." The great elder answered coldly. All the elders agreed unanimously. Yixuan laughed coldly. "I risk life and death outside, yet you dare depose me." The great elder sneered and pointed at Yilang, who stood not far away. "Do you know who he is?" Without waiting for Yixuan to speak, he continued, "Yilang is the heaven-chosen one who has just awakened." Yixuan froze. What was a heaven-chosen one? A heaven-chosen one was someone chosen by the heavens. In this azure world, there was a group of people who lived completely ordinary lives when young. But at some point they would suddenly awaken and become a completely different person. At that time, not only would their cultivation speed multiply many times over, they would also receive countless fortuitous encounters. No different from beloved children of heaven and earth. The azure world was divided into 3 great provinces. The place where Yixuan lived was Jiang Kingdom, one of the hundreds of large and small countries in Qing Province. Over the past few decades, the number of heaven-chosen ones in this country had not exceeded the fingers of 2 hands. And all of those people later became overlords of their own regions. Yixuan's hands slowly clenched. He knew that the Yi family did not merely want to abandon him, they wanted to kill him. Suddenly, Yilang's voice rang out. Elders Yikshuan killed someone in broad daylight and even dared attack the Great Elder. According to family law, how should he be punished? Seeing everyone look over, he smiled contemptuously. He should be beaten to death, shouldn't he? Several elders nodded one after another. Clearly, none of them dared displease Yilang because he was not only a heaven-chosen one, but also the Great Elder's direct grandson. The Great Elder's cold eyes swept over Yikshuan. Men. Dozens of guards thundered in from outside the ancestral hall, but Yikshuan spoke. The Yi family estate has a rule. In order to make clan members sincerely submit, the heir may not refuse any challenge from someone of the younger generation. He fixed his eyes on Yilang. I challenge you. Yilang narrowed his eyes, a smile on his lips. A challenge, fine. But do you dare fight on the life and death platform? The life and death platform, a murmur spread. Within the Yi family, when a conflict could not be reconciled, both sides could choose to settle it on the life and death platform. Once one stepped onto it, life and death were decided by oneself. Yikshuan smiled faintly. Fine, the life and death platform. But Yilang shook his head. 1 month from now is when the patriarch comes out of seclusion. At that time, you and I will step onto the life and death platform together and ask him to bear witness, so that you cannot accuse me of plotting against you. Yikshuan thought for a while, then answered, fine. After that, he did not argue any further. He picked up Yilang and left the ancestral hall. Watching the two siblings gradually leave, the Great Elder said to Yilang, he fights desperately outside every year. His strength is not ordinary. Are you certain you can win? The corner of Yilang's mouth curved arrogantly, and killing intent was obvious in his eyes. I have only just awakened, and my divine soul and physical body have not fully merged yet. Otherwise, killing him would be as easy as killing an ant. 1 month from now, absolutely no one in King City will be a match for me, Yilang. Hearing this, the Great Elder nodded and smiled. Very good. Then he quietly instructed another elder nearby. The people I sent to Nanshan did not return, and Yikshuan's face was abnormally pale. Yiku, go investigate what happened to him there. That elder nodded and left. Yikshuan carried Yilang back to the room in the small courtyard, gently placed her on the bed, and touched her still swollen cheek. He asked softly, does it hurt? Yilang wiped the tears from her face. No, it doesn't hurt. Big brother, what right do they have to remove you as heir? You have risked your life for the family. Even if Yilang is a heaven-chosen one, what right does he have to make them depose you? This is truly too unfair. Yikshuan shook his head slightly. There is nothing unfair about it. This time I was useless. I could not protect you, so I let you get beaten. Yilang shook her head hard and tears flowed again. I am the useless one. I cannot help you at all and only know how to be a burden. Yikshuan smiled faintly and lightly touched the tip of her nose. Silly girl, I am your elder brother. Protecting you is only natural, do you understand? Yilang stood on tiptoe and kissed her brother on the cheek, promising seriously, Big brother. Once I recover from my illness, I will cultivate too so I can protect you. Yikshuan laughed and rubbed her head. Good. Big brother promises he will cure you. It is very late now, go to sleep. Yilang nodded. I want to hear a story. Yikshuan smiled, then began. Once upon a time there was a mountain. On the mountain there was a temple. In the temple there was a... Yilang rolled her eyes at him. Big brother has told this story for so many years, but I still like hearing it. Half an hour later, Yilang had fallen asleep. Yikshuan pulled the blanket over her, then quietly sat down on the floor beside her. He reached out and lifted his robe, revealing a long scar across his abdomen. Blood was still seeping from it. To fight for ownership of that mineral mountain, he had charged into a bloody melee against 12 members of the Lai family. And after a moment of carelessness, he had been ambushed. Although he killed the attacker, he had also taken a blade to his dantian. As a result, his dantian had completely shattered. Yikshuan slowly closed his eyes. This meant he could only cultivate his physical body, and moreover, he could no longer cultivate to the 6th stage Kai transformation realm. But being unable to cultivate was secondary. Yikshuan looked at Yilang on the bed. Although she was covered with 3 layers of blankets, her face was still pale and cold. Cold injury. Yi Lion had been invaded by cold Kai when she was young, and her health had always been weak. If Yi Xuan had not fought desperately to become the heir, made countless contributions, and received medicine and pills from the Yi family, she would have died long ago. Yi Xuan clenched his right hand. Now that he was no longer the heir, would this family still be willing to provide medicine for his sister? Moreover, Yi Lion's illness showed signs of worsening. If he wanted to cure her, the only way was to go to Kangmu Academy in the imperial capital of Jiang Kingdom, where the finest physicians gathered. However, the condition for entering Kangmu Academy was to reach the Kai-controlling realm before the age of 18. Yi Xuan originally had a chance, because his 18th birthday was still half a year away. But now that his Danshan was ruined, that goal had become almost impossible. Thinking of this, he turned back to look at his sister, who had fallen into a dream. It's all right. Big brother will definitely cure you. A while later, as if he had thought of something, he took out a black ring from inside his robe. It was something his mother had left him. He no longer remembered much about that woman ever since she had left when he was 10. That year at the back gate of the Yi family estate, she had held him tightly in her arms, her eyes filled with tears. Not far behind her stood a middle-aged man in a long black robe. To say he was standing was not quite right. It would be more accurate to say he was hovering. In Yi Xuan's memory, the man had said this, "Miss, if you remain attached and refuse to leave." And the clan leader learns of the young master's existence and becomes enraged. I fear this world will suffer a catastrophic disaster, and the young master will also find it hard to survive. Hearing these words, the woman gently pushed Yi Xuan away and placed the ring inside his robe. "Xuaner, take good care of Lioner and yourself. Do not hate mother." With that, she turned and left with the man. Yi Xuan stood dazed for a long while, then snapped back to himself and chased after them madly. Unfortunately, he could not catch up because the 2 of them had flown away. He kept chasing and chasing until his legs could no longer run, and only then did he stop. That woman never once turned back. She and the man vanished at the end of the sky. Yi Xuan withdrew from his memories, his right hand gripping the ring. The wound on his hand was torn open by the force of his grip. A drop of blood seeped out and soaked into the black ring, causing it to suddenly tremble violently. Yi Xuan looked down in alarm. At that moment, the ring transformed into a streak of black lightning and shot between his brows. In an instant, Yi Xuan suddenly vanished from where he stood and reappeared in an endless sea of stars. Not far in front of him floated a 12-story black tower. The tower was bound on all sides by countless pitch-black chains as thick as pillars, and 3 swords were planted upright at the top of the tower. The entire tower exuded a dark and gloomy aura. Yi Xuan tried hard to calm his pounding heart and looked above the entrance to the first floor of the tower. There 2 words were carved in blood-red characters, World Prison. On both sides of the entrance were 2 other lines of red characters, like a couplet. Left side, imprison heaven, imprison earth, imprison the gods and demons of all heavens. Right side, forbid the Tao, forbid fate, forbid the human immortals of 10,000 worlds. Hearing these words, the woman gently pushed Yi Xuan away and placed the ring inside his robe. "Xuaner, take good care of Lioner and yourself. Do not hate mother." With that, she turned and left with the man. Yi Xuan stood dazed for a long while, then snapped back to himself and chased after them madly. Unfortunately, he could not catch up because the 2 of them had flown away. He kept chasing and chasing until his legs could no longer run, and only then did he stop. That woman never once turned back. She and the man vanished at the end of the sky. Yi Xuan withdrew from his memories, his right hand gripping the ring. The wound on his hand was torn open by the force of his grip. A drop of blood seeped out and soaked into the black ring, causing it to suddenly tremble violently. Yi Xuan looked down in alarm. At that moment, the ring transformed into a streak of black lightning and shot between his brows. In an instant, Yi Xuan suddenly vanished from where he stood and reappeared in an endless sea of stars. Not far in front of him floated a 12-story black tower. The tower was bound on all sides by countless pitch-black chains as thick as pillars, and 3 swords were planted upright at the top of the tower. The entire tower exuded a dark and gloomy aura. Yixuan tried hard to calm his pounding heart and looked above the entrance to the first floor of the tower. There 2 words were carved in blood-red characters, World Prison. On both sides of the entrance were 2 other lines of red characters, like a couplet. Left side, imprison heaven, imprison earth, imprison the gods and demons of all heavens. Right side, forbid the Tao, forbid fate, forbid the human immortals of 10,000 worlds. Looking at the Black Tower, Yixuan was utterly shocked. Everything before his eyes had already exceeded his understanding. A moment later, he forced himself to calm down. He knew this might be a great opportunity, but of course, it might also bring danger. In the end, Yixuan still chose to open the tower door and walk inside. If he left now, he would definitely be unwilling. After entering, Yixuan looked around. The walls on all 4 sides were painted with all kinds of strange beasts he had never seen before. In addition, there were some mysterious purple-gold runes, and some of the runes were even moving. Finally, his gaze fell not far away. A skeleton sat cross-legged there, and beside the skeleton stood a long sword. Yixuan looked at the skeleton. On it was a line of words, "I am the sword master of the Kang world. I began practicing the sword at 12. Completed my cultivation at 17. Had no opponent in the Kang world at 21. And at 27 used the sword to pierce the heart and reach supreme attainment in the sword Tao. I was trapped in this prison for 1,200 years. Though I exhausted my whole life, I still could not leave this tower. Today, knowing I must die, I leave behind my inheritance, hoping it may be passed on to one who comes after me. If you remember this kindness, please look after the Kang sword sect." Sword master of the Kang world, Yixuan frowned slightly. He had never heard of him before. His gaze moved downward. Beneath the line of words was a jade stone the size of a fist, an inheritance stone. The blood in Yixuan's body began to boil, sword cultivator. There were many martial artists in all of Qing province, but there were very, very few sword cultivators. They could be said to be as rare as autumn leaves. It was said that to become a sword cultivator, one had to possess certain special spiritual roots. As for spiritual roots, he knew absolutely nothing. He only knew they were extremely rare. Yixuan instinctively wanted to go over and take it, but just as he approached, an invisible force blocked him and prevented him from going forward. Yixuan was stunned. He could not pass, new here. At this moment, a woman's voice rang out. Yixuan was startled by the sudden voice. He retreated several steps in succession and looked around, but there was no one there. He must have heard wrong. This thought had just appeared in Yixuan's mind when that voice rang out again. Who governs the heavenly Tao of this world? Yixuan froze. Heavenly Tao, what is that? After a moment of silence, the voice rang out again. Why are you so weak? No, that is not right. You were not imprisoned here. Yixuan listened but understood nothing at this moment. The mysterious woman said in slight surprise. A natural Tao body is one thing. But you also have double-layered spiritual roots, 2 people in one body. No wonder this world prison tower chose you, natural Tao body. Double-layered spiritual roots, Yixuan was utterly confused. Senior, who are you? The woman said, you are already grown. At the very least, you should be in the nether passage realm. Why are you so weak? Moreover, your foundation is so poor, it is truly unsightly. Yixuan. The mysterious woman suddenly asked, how do you cultivate? Yixuan hesitated for a moment, then said, I do push-ups, run long distances while carrying heavy loads, fight. The mysterious woman said coldly, do you live in the primitive era? Why are you still using such backward cultivation methods? You are truly wasting your physique, wasting your spiritual roots. Yixuan smiled bitterly. Senior, everyone in King City cultivates like this. The woman fell silent. Yixuan was somewhat speechless. He looked all around but still saw no one. Everything about this place was strange. Seeing that the woman no longer spoke, he looked again at the inheritance stone not far away. The heat in his eyes was undisguised. You want to learn the sword? The mysterious woman suddenly asked. Yixuan quickly nodded. I do. Who would not want to ride a sword through the sky and look down upon the world? The woman said, your dantian has already shattered. You cannot cultivate the sword cultivator inheritance before you. Hearing this, Yixuan's expression dimmed, his dantian was shattered. Forget sword cultivation. Even becoming an ordinary martial artist was now impossible for him. Now he could only be considered someone who trained his body. Just then the mysterious woman suddenly said, how about this? My method of cultivating the sword Dao is different from others. Do you want to learn it? Yixuan froze, then hurriedly asked, can I learn it even without a dantian? The woman answered, not having a dantian is even better. He could learn it even without a dantian. Yixuan was so excited he almost jumped, but he still forced himself to calm down. He looked around. Senior, what conditions do you have? He knew there was no free meal in this world. The mysterious woman said, back then this tower suffered serious damage. Its 9 Dao principles were scattered throughout this azure world, and the seals of the floors loosened. You are lucky that all the sword cultivators who entered before you are dead. Otherwise, I fear you would already be a corpse, Yixuan. The mysterious woman continued, I know you are very confused right now and do not know what this tower really is, but telling you would be useless. You only need to know that this tower has 12 floors. Each floor imprisons peak figures from certain worlds. There are humans, souls, demons, and monsters. In the past, this tower could even suppress the heavenly Dao soul of a world. But now the tower seals have loosened, and it is almost unable to suppress them anymore. At this point, she was silent for a moment. Then continued, what you need to do is find those Dao principles and bring them back to reinforce this tower. Of course, you may also release the beings inside. Release them. Yixuan was stunned, then said, what would happen then? The mysterious woman replied, there are 2 possible results. First, they kill you and seize the tower. Second, you control them and make them obey your commands. Of course, with your current strength, the chance that they kill you is probably 100%. Yixuan smiled bitterly. A blessing was also a disaster. As if thinking of something, Yixuan hurriedly asked, Senior, are you also imprisoned here? The mysterious woman said no. Yixuan asked again, then you are. The woman said, you ask too many questions. Yixuan, the woman said, now that you are the master of the tower, every time you find a Dao principle, not only will your strength increase greatly, your control over this tower will also become stronger. If you can retrieve 1 Dao principle, you will be able to control the first floor. In the future, as long as an opponent is not much stronger than you will be able to use this tower to draw them inside. Right now, this tower has no Dao principles at all. It has completely lost its function, and the seal on every floor has begun to loosen gradually. Once this tower completely collapses, the beings imprisoned inside will be released, and your world will be finished. And you will be the first to die. Yixuan said in a heavy tone, Senior, do you want me to save all the people under heaven? The woman said, the person you need to save is yourself. The one imprisoned on the 2nd floor is not a kind being. According to my estimate, in at most 1 year, the seal on the 2nd floor will disappear completely. At that time, you may bid farewell to this beautiful world. Yixuan bowed deeply toward the front. Senior, please teach me that method of cultivation that does not require a dantian. The mysterious woman was silent for a moment, then said, this method of sword cultivation of mine is different from ordinary sword cultivation methods, and it is far more difficult. Beginning cultivation can be described as living worse than death. You need to think carefully. Yixuan smiled self-mockingly. Now that my dantian has shattered, I have no path left, do I? The woman said, you are right. But I still need to tell you about this cultivation method. You have no dantian, which happens to suit my method because my method requires using a sword as the dantian. Yixuan was stunned. Use a sword as the dantian, that is possible. The mysterious woman answered, of course it is possible. Once you use a sword as your dantian, you will no longer be walking the path of martial cultivation, but the path of the sword Dao. Use a sword as your dantian, the better the sword, the better your dantian. Not only that, in the future you will not need to sit in meditation to absorb spiritual Kai. You only need to find good swords and absorb them. The better the sword, the faster your cultivation will rise. If you reach minor completion in the early stage, your body will become a sword body. At that time, ordinary swords will not affect you. Not only will they not affect you, your appearance can even make 10,000 swords submit. 10,000 swords submit. Hearing this, Yixuan felt his blood boil and could hardly wait. At this moment, the mysterious woman asked again, "Before you entered, did you see the 3 swords on top of the tower?" Yixuan nodded. "I saw them," the mysterious woman explained. "Those 3 swords represent 3 ultimate forms of sword Dao in the world. If you can draw them into yourself, use them as your dantian, and absorb them, your strength will reach a level never seen before." Yixuan hesitated for a moment, then said, "I feel those 3 swords are suppressing the tower. If I absorb them, will something happen? How could that be?" The woman answered very quickly, "Nothing will happen, trust me, I will protect you." Yixuan was somewhat suspicious, but he knew that at this moment he had no other choice. He could only choose to trust her. The mysterious woman said, "Do you see the sword in front of you?" Yixuan looked at the sword planted beside the skeleton not far away. The sword was more than 3 meters long, about 1 finger wide, silver in color and very beautiful. On the sword were 2 small characters, Ling Xiao, the Ling Xiao sword. The woman explained, "This sword has been imprisoned for 1,200 years, and most of its spiritual power has already vanished. It is just right for you to use. I will transmit a portion of a cultivation technique to you. Then, according to the method in the technique, draw this sword into your body. Right now, you are at the peak of the 5th stage unceasing realm. If you succeed, you will be able to reach the 6th stage Kai transformation realm." Yixuan understood the meaning in the woman's words and hurriedly asked, "Is there a risk of failure?" The woman answered, "Yes." Yixuan froze. "Senior, do not tell me no one has ever used this cultivation method before." The mysterious woman was silent for a moment, then said, "Indeed, no one has ever used it. You are the first. If you succeed, then congratulations, you will be one of a kind." Yixuan's expression stiffened. A moment later, he smiled bitterly. "Senior, what happens if I fail?" The woman replied, "The sword pierces through the body. Possibly, probably, almost certainly, perhaps you will die." Yixuan. The mysterious woman added, "Now that your dantian is shattered, you are already living worse than death. Why think so much? Just risk your life." Hearing this, Yixuan became serious. That was right. His dantian was already shattered. He had reached a dead end. If he did not risk everything, not only would he have no hope, but his younger sister Yilian would also have no way to survive. He had to take the risk. Yixuan nodded. "Begin." As soon as he finished speaking, a white light suddenly entered between his brows. A moment later, information surged into his mind like a tide. The invincible sword body art. Use the body as a sword, use the sword as the dantian. Use the dantian to devour all swords under heaven. Use all swords under heaven to nourish the body and grow without end. A moment later, a streak of white light suddenly fell onto the longsword before Yixuan. The longsword trembled slightly, then turned into a stream of sword light and completely entered Yixuan's body. Ah! In an instant, Yixuan's eyes suddenly widened and his face twisted. Pain. It truly hurt so much he did not want to live. At this moment, Yixuan felt as though his body was being sliced apart bit by a blade. At this moment, the mysterious woman's voice rang out in his mind. "The sword has entered your body. You must endure the pain it brings. If you cannot endure it, you will not be able to use the sword as your dantian. Not only that, you may also lose your life." Yixuan gritted his teeth tightly, his body trembling non-stop. Succeed or die trying, time passed bit by bit. Yixuan's face twisted until it was almost no longer human, and from time to time his body convulsed. Many times the pain nearly made him faint, but he knew that if he fainted, he might very well never wake up again. He had to endure. Just like that, Yixuan endured for nearly a day. Suddenly, a faint sword cry rang out inside his body, and Yixuan immediately collapsed. At the same time, a stream of Kai spread out from his body, Kai transformation realm. At the position of Yixuan's dantian, a small sword floated there. And a soft murmur also sounded inside the tower. It actually worked. Unfortunately, Yixuan was unconscious at this moment and did not hear these words. No one knew how much time passed before Yixuan slowly opened his eyes. As if sensing something, he sat up abruptly and asked in disbelief, "I reached the Kai transformation realm. Kai transformation realm." At this moment, he could feel a current of Kai moving within his body. No, it was not Kai, it was Sword Kai. Not only that, he could also sense a small silver sword floating at his dantian. At this moment, the mysterious woman's voice suddenly rang out. "You have reached the Kai transformation realm." He had truly reached the Kai transformation realm. Yixuan clenched his hands tightly. His body trembled slightly, not from anger but from excitement. At this moment, it was as though he had seen a ray of light in a pitch-black abyss. Seeing hope after despair, how could he not be excited? Most importantly, he now had a chance to reach the Kai-controlling realm. Then bring his younger sister to Kangmu Academy in the imperial capital to seek treatment from a master physician. "What are you so excited about?" The woman said, "This is only the beginning." Yixuan smiled awkwardly. "I have made Senior laugh." The mysterious woman explained, "Using a sword as the dantian makes up for your lack of a dantian, but it also has drawbacks. Swords are divided into 6 grades: Spirit Sword, Nether Sword, True Sword, Heavenly Sword, Tao Sword, and Immortal Sword. The sword inside you was probably once at the True Sword grade. But after being corroded for 1,200 years, its original truth has already vanished. Not only that, even its sword heart clarity has disappeared without a trace. Right now, it is only a spirit sword." At this point, the mysterious woman paused slightly, then said, "The spirit of a sword will also disappear one day. Once it disappears, the sword will break, and the first person to die will be you." Yixuan's expression stiffened. The woman continued, "You have 2 ways to resolve this. First, continuously seek new spirit swords to absorb. After absorption, the sword's spiritual Kai will not only strengthen you, but also replenish the spiritual power of the sword inside your body. Second, find another sword to replace the sword inside you. The better the sword, the better the dantian. Your strength will also become more terrifying. Of course, one look tells me you are poor. I fear you do not even own an ordinary sword." As if remembering something, Yixuan hurriedly said, "Aren't there 3 swords on top of the tower? What grade are those 3 swords?" The woman replied, "They have no grade, Yixuan." She continued, "Kid, I advise you not to let your thoughts run wild. Without those 3 swords, your world would have collapsed long ago. There is no need to rush the matter of swords. The sword inside you should be able to last about 1 year. Your urgent task right now is to practice the sword. Practice the sword." Yixuan hurriedly asked, "How do I practice? Kill people?" The mysterious woman replied, "Yixuan." The woman explained, "A sword is a sharp weapon for killing. Only by killing will you truly understand its wonders. Of course, you have only just begun. What you need to practice now are speed and strength. Use the sword formula I transmitted to you and summon the sword inside your body." Yixuan froze. Then he slowly closed his eyes. After a short while, he opened his palm and a ray of sword light flashed in it. It was the silver link Xiao sword inside his body. Yixuan was stunned. "Senior, this sword. This sword can be summoned outside." The woman answered, "It can. But you had better not use this sword to fight, because once it is destroyed, you are finished as well. Right now, you still lack an opponent. I will find one for you." After she said this, an illusory shadow appeared before Yixuan. The mysterious woman said, "The shadow before you is at the Kai transformation realm, the same realm as you. Begin." As soon as she finished speaking, the blurry shadow before Yixuan instantly vanished from its original position. Yixuan narrowed his eyes. The opponent was extremely fast. He instinctively leaned aside to dodge, but the sword seemed to know he wanted to avoid it and suddenly changed its momentum. Just as Yixuan stepped down, that sword stabbed straight into his chest. Blood flowed out. Yixuan was stunned, then said, "Senior, weren't we only practicing the sword? Why is this real? And you still have not taught me any sword moves or sword techniques." The mysterious woman's voice suddenly turned cold. "Practicing the sword. The most powerful killing moves of sword cultivators have never been gained through practice, but through killing. The phantom before you is your enemy and also your teacher. If you are clever, he will teach you all the basics of swordsmanship. Being injured is the best teacher, do you understand? As for sword techniques and sword moves, there is no need to rush. A solid foundation is what matters. Yixuan was silent for a moment, then nodded. I understand. After speaking, he stamped his foot on the ground and rushed out. Inside the tower, the wounds on Yixuan's body grew more and more numerous, but the more he fought, the fiercer he became. Fighting. Yixuan had never feared it. He had once been the heir of the Yi family estate. For the Yi family's interests, he often represented them in all kinds of life and death battles. That was also why, as someone in the unceasing realm, he could barely withstand the great elder. His realm had not been trained through practice. It had been carved out through killing. Gradually, Yixuan began to learn some sword moves from that shadow. Not only that, every time he was injured, he would understand why he had been injured, and what he had to do in order not to be injured again. After 3 days of bitter fighting, the wounds on Yixuan's body began to lessen. Of course. He had not learned any formal sword moves. But he knew when he should strike, when he should not strike, when he should block, and when he could not dodge. All of these had been paid for with blood. Although this kind of training was extremely cruel, it was also the most effective. Another 2 days passed. Now Yixuan had begun to slowly counterattack. And after he began to counterattack, he discovered that the Shadow's defensive ability was excellent. Far better than the defensive methods he had used before. To him, the Shadow's defense was truly seamless. No matter how he attacked, the opponent could perfectly neutralize it. Of course, this was a good thing for him, because that Shadow was also teaching him how to defend. The mysterious woman's voice suddenly turned cold, practicing the sword. The most powerful killing moves of sword cultivators have never been gained through practice, but through killing. The phantom before you is your enemy and also your teacher. If you are clever, he will teach you all the basics of swordsmanship. Being injured is the best teacher, do you understand? As for sword techniques and sword moves, there is no need to rush. A solid foundation is what matters. Yixuan was silent for a moment, then nodded. I understand. After speaking, he stamped his foot on the ground and rushed out. Inside the tower, the wounds on Yixuan's body grew more and more numerous, but the more he fought, the fiercer he became. Fighting. Yixuan had never feared it. He had once been the heir of the Yi family estate. For the Yi family's interests, he often represented them in all kinds of life and death battles. That was also why, as someone in the unceasing realm, he could barely withstand the great elder. His realm had not been trained through practice. It had been carved out through killing. Gradually, Yixuan began to learn some sword moves from that shadow. Not only that, every time he was injured, he would understand why he had been injured, and what he had to do in order not to be injured again. After 3 days of bitter fighting, the wounds on Yixuan's body began to lessen. Of course. He had not learned any formal sword moves. But he knew when he should strike, when he should not strike, when he should block, and when he could not dodge. All of these had been paid for with blood. Although this kind of training was extremely cruel, it was also the most effective. Another 2 days passed. Now Yixuan had begun to slowly counterattack. And after he began to counterattack, he discovered that the Shadow's defensive ability was excellent. Far better than the defensive methods he had used before. To him, the Shadow's defense was truly seamless. No matter how he attacked, the opponent could perfectly neutralize it. Of course, this was a good thing for him because that Shadow was also teaching him how to defend. Time passed bit by bit. Inside the tower, Yixuan fought with the Shadow almost without eating or sleeping. During this time, his strength, speed, and reaction ability all became much stronger than before. This discovery made him very happy, and he cultivated even more frantically. Outside in the Yi family estate, Yi Ku entered the Great Elder's room, his face carrying an excited smile. Great Elder, I have found out what happened at Nanshan before. Although the assassins we sent failed to kill Yixuan, one of the surviving members of the Lai family personally saw that Yixuan's Danshan was shattered. Hearing this, the Great Elder opened his eyes. Are you certain? Yi Ku nodded. Absolutely true. I personally went to ask that person. Yixuan's Danshan truly has been shattered. Heaven itself wants to destroy him, haha. The great elder kept sneering in the room. His Danshan was shattered. If a person no longer had a Danshan, then he was only a body trainer. Only with a Danshan could one be called a martial artist. Yixuan's Danshan was shattered, so he could be considered a cripple. Even if his combat strength was not ordinary, he merely had physical strength. Only when one could control Kai could one be regarded as a true expert. A moment later, the great elder said coldly, "Yiku, gather everyone and eliminate him. Remove this future disaster." But the elder named Yiku shook his head. "We cannot." The great elder looked at Yiku. Yiku said seriously, "Great elder, in the end, Yixuan has contributed a great deal to the Yi family. If we kill him now, it will surely chill the hearts of many people in the Yi family. Moreover, Yilang has just become the heir, and he still has a life and death agreement with him. If we eliminate him at this time, what will outsiders think? They will certainly assume we acted. Not only outsiders. If the news spreads, I fear the Lai family will also make a huge fuss over it." The great elder frowned slightly. "Then according to you, what should we do?" Yiku smiled and replied, "Doesn't Yilang have a life and death agreement with him? At that time, let Yilang kill him. It will be perfectly justified, and no one will be able to gossip. Yilang can also use this matter to establish his authority and raise his reputation in King City. Not only that, once they step onto the life and death platform, even if the patriarch comes out of seclusion, he will have nothing to say, right?" The great elder thought for a moment, then nodded. "That will do. In any case, his Danshan has already shattered, so he poses no threat." At this point, a cold light flashed in his eyes. "But during this period, do not let him live too comfortably. Pass down the order. From now on, cut off the monthly allowance and food of Yixuan and his sister. Take back all the privileges and benefits of the heir. He may not enter the Yi family's martial skill tower, and he must not be allowed to leave the Yi family estate at will. Also, stop the medicine for his younger sister. HMPH, over these years, who knows how many pills and medicinal herbs have been wasted on his sister's cold injury. If not for the fact that he had some use before, this old man would have thrown that little girl out of the Yi family estate long ago." Yiku chuckled. Now that his Danshan has shattered, calling him a cripple is not excessive. The great elder nodded. Yilang has just awakened. If he needs anything, use everything the Yi family has to satisfy him. Also, he may go to the martial skill tower at any time and examine everything inside. Yiku nodded. Understood. Right, Lion is no longer that young either. How about marrying her to one of the servants in the estate? The great elder slowly closed his eyes. Handle it as you see fit. Inside the world prison tower, Yixuan lay on the ground panting. From head to toe, his body was covered with wounds caused by swords, fortunately. After reaching the Kai transformation realm, he could use spiritual Kai to heal these wounds, though he still could not avoid the pain of flesh and skin. Although he had suffered some physical pain, he had truly gained too much these past few days. His combat strength had already been extraordinary, ranking among the best of the younger generation in King City. Now, after several days of training, his combat strength had risen another level. "How do you feel?" The mysterious woman's voice suddenly rang out. Yixuan grinned. "I feel very good." The mysterious woman said, "Right now you have only just begun. The path ahead will become even harder. Of course, the martial Dao already walks beside an abyss, and the sword Dao is even harder. You also have no Danshan and do not walk the normal path. Your days from now on will be much more difficult." Yixuan slowly closed his eyes. "I am not afraid of hardship." Since childhood, he and his younger sister had depended on each other in the Yi family. What hardship had they not suffered? He had no background, but he had been able to become the heir because he risked his life. Moreover, now he had a chance to reach the Kai controlling realm, and his sister's illness had hope. Even if he had to suffer all the pain in the world, he would agree. After resting for a while, Yixuan left the world prison tower. He had not yet cultivated to the level of fasting asterisk, so he still needed to eat. Asterisk fasting, a Taoist health cultivation method referring to cultivators abstaining from grain and food in order to focus on cultivation. Not long after Yikshuan returned to his room, Yi Lion came in. Yi Lion walked up to him with her head lowered and handed him 2 white flour steamed buns in her hands. She said softly, "Big brother, eat." Yikshuan frowned. "What happened? Raise your head." Yi Lion raised her head, and Yikshuan's expression suddenly changed. On Yi Lion's right cheek was a red handprint. What happened? Yikshuan's eyes instantly turned cold. Yi Lion shook her head. "No, nothing. I accidentally bumped into something myself." Yikshuan pulled Yi Lion in front of him. "Tell me the truth, I am not dead yet. I will stand up for you in everything." Yi Lion immediately shed tears. The little girl wiped the tears from her face. "Brother, today the kitchen did not send us any food, so I went to the kitchen myself. Steward Wang in the kitchen gave me some dog food. How could that be eaten? It had all gone bad and there were even maggots. I was very angry, so I argued with him. He said you are no longer the heir and that we siblings only deserve to eat dog food. Then he said if I wanted food, I could have it as long as I slept with him for one night. I cursed him and he hit me." Yikshuan's expression became icy. He clenched his fists, his nails digging deep into his palms. Once one falls from power, a person becomes less than a dog. After saying this, he pulled Yi Lion out of the room and went straight to the kitchen of the Yi family estate. Yikshuan led Yi Lion quickly along the road, and people pointed at them. When Yikshuan had been the heir, everyone in the estate had been very respectful when they saw him, greeting him on their own initiative. But now that he was no longer the heir, those who had flattered him before hurriedly avoided him when they saw him, or pretended not to know him. After all, the heir of the Yi family estate was now Yi Lang, and no one wanted to offend Yi Lang and the great elder. Yikshuan did not care about these words, because only when one fell from power and met disaster could one truly see a person's nature. On the road, Yi Lion pulled Yikshuan's hand and said tremblingly, "Big brother, why don't we forget it? I am not in pain anymore. There are elders behind them, they will target you." Yikshuan stopped. He turned back to look at Yi Lion and said through clenched teeth, "Anyone who dares hit you, even if it is the great elder, I will kill that person." After speaking, he pulled Yi Lion and quickly walked into the distance. Yikshuan soon brought Yi Lion to the kitchen of the Yi family estate. At this moment, a fat man walked out. This man was Chief Steward Wang, the manager of the Yi family estate's kitchen. Chief Steward Wang looked at Yikshuan and froze slightly. Then a smile appeared on his fat face. "Oh, what wind has blown the air here? Ah, look at my memory. I forgot you are no longer the heir. Sigh, this memory of mine is really terrible. Right now perhaps you should call me brother-in-law. The elders have already promised your younger sister to me, we." At this moment, Yikshuan suddenly strode up to Chief Steward Wang. Before Wang could react, Yikshuan kicked him hard in the waist. "Ah." Chief Steward Wang's eyes bulged, and his face instantly twisted. Everyone around them was stunned. What was this Yikshuan trying to do? Under countless gazes, Yikshuan warned in a hard voice, "Since childhood, I have never been willing to hit my younger sister even once. Damn it, yet you dared hit her." After saying this, he slapped Chief Steward Wang hard across the face. Smack. The sound of the slap rang out like thunder, PFFT. Chief Steward Wang spat out a mouthful of fresh blood and rolled on the ground, both hands covering his waist as he wailed non-stop like a pig being slaughtered. Yikshuan was about to continue attacking when an angry shout suddenly rang out behind him. "Yikshuan, you are truly insolent." The person who came was Yiku, and behind him followed several guards of the Yi family estate. Yikshuan paid no attention to Yiku. He stepped on Chief Steward Wang's wailing face, then turned to Yi Lion, whose face had gone pale with fright. "Which hand did he hit you with?" Yi Lion answered tremblingly, his right hand. "Brother, why don't let it go." Before the little girl finished speaking, Yikshuan suddenly pulled a dagger from his waist and chopped down at Chief Steward Wang's shoulder. Chop. Chief Steward Wang's entire right arm separated from his shoulder, and fresh blood flowed like a spring. The surroundings became utterly silent. Everyone was so shocked they stood frozen. Even Yiku's eyes widened, filled with disbelief. As for Chief Steward Wang, he had fainted outright. Yi Lion covered her mouth, also frightened. At this moment, Yiku came back to his senses. He pointed angrily at Yikshuan. Yikshuan, you are truly arrogant. You actually attacked someone in front of me, you. Yikshuan suddenly turned around and raised his dagger toward Yiku, warning, you old dog. Do not think I do not know that you and the great elder are scheming behind the scenes. You trash do nothing all day but harm your own people. If you have ability, go fight the Zhang family, the Lai family, or the city lord's manor. Fierce toward your own, weak toward outsiders like dogs, that is exactly the nature of you elders. The Zhang family, the Lai family, the city lord's manor, and the Yi family were known as the four great forces of King City. And the Yi family was the weakest among them. Hearing this, Yiku's expression became extremely ugly. He said through clenched teeth, Yikshuan, what are you being arrogant about? In broad daylight you attack someone in front of everyone, you. What nonsense are you saying? At this moment Yikshuan suddenly roared angrily. I was the one who cut him, come beat me. Yiku was furious, he roared, seize him for me. But the guards beside him did not dare move. Yikshuan had represented the Yi family in countless battles outside. Among the guards of the Yi family estate, he had a great reputation. Because only Yikshuan dared to be fierce toward the other three forces outside. Daring to fight the moment he said he would. Moreover, he often led the people of the Yi family estate outside to fight for territory. It could be said that most of the Yi family guards had once fought shoulder to shoulder with Yikshuan. Seeing that the guards did not dare move, Yiku froze, then said angrily, do you all want to rebel? The leading guard looked at Yikshuan and hesitated slightly. Brother Yi, we. Yikshuan looked at that guard. Lai Mu, you have gone through at least 100 bloody battles with me. How I treated the Yi family, those of you who risked your lives with me outside understand best. Now the family gives dog slop to my sister and me. I cannot swallow this anger. I will not make things difficult for you, and I know your position. But I will leave one sentence here today. If you act today, the brotherhood of the past will be completely erased. You need not hold back, and I will not hold back either. Hearing this, Lai Mu's expression suddenly became ugly. The several forces of King City often fought over territory and mines. Every struggle meant risking their lives in battle. The older generation could not act. This was the rule because if the older generation acted, it would mean a war between entire families, and then no one would benefit. Thus, there was a rule that the younger generation would go compete. This way, not only could mutual destruction be avoided, but the younger generation could also be tempered. And Yikshuan was the representative of the Yi family. In other words, he was the leader of the younger generation of the Yi family estate. These guards had gone through life and death with him countless times, so naturally they had friendship with him. At this moment, having to face Yikshuan, these men were surely in a very difficult position. Furthermore, there was another point. They understood Yikshuan's strength and temperament very well. Once a fight began, he would completely become a madman who ignored life and death. As long as they dared to act, they would certainly die. Seeing that Lai Mu and the others still had not acted, Yiku said through clenched teeth again, so you truly do not want to live anymore, is that it? Lai Mu took a deep breath and was about to speak when Yikshuan suddenly said, he clearly knows that you are no match for me. But he does not act himself and instead tells you to act. He simply wants me to kill you and make the matter bigger. After saying this, he smiled mockingly. The elders of our Yi family estate, who are used to living in luxury, are indeed skilled at harming their own people. Hearing this, the expressions of Lai Mu and the others suddenly became ugly. Yiku wanted to sacrifice them. Yiku stared at Yikshuan. Yikshuan, things are different now. If you knew your place, perhaps you could still live a few more days. Unfortunately, you cannot see the situation clearly. Even now you are still so arrogant, you old dog. At this moment, Yikshuan suddenly interrupted Yiku. Were you the one who agreed to marry my sister to this piece of trash? Yiku sneered. It was my idea, what can you do about it? Yikshuan's face became savage. It is one thing for you to harm me, but my sister is only 12 years old and you still want to harm her. I curse 18 generations of your ancestors. As soon as he finished speaking, he stomped his foot hard. Boom. The green stone under his feet exploded, and at the same time, Yixuan pounced toward Yiku like a fierce tiger hunting prey. Seeing this, Yiku's expression changed completely. He had not expected Yixuan to dare attack him. After all, he was an elder of the Yi family estate. Did this Yixuan truly want to rebel? Yiku had no time to think further. He bent his knees, clenched his right hand, and pulled it back. A moment later, he struck fiercely forward, collapsing fist. This was a low-grade martial skill of the Yi family estate. One punch could shatter stone. At this moment, Yixuan's fist also arrived, and he used this same low-grade martial skill. Boom, the two fists collided. Yiku's expression suddenly changed completely, and his right hand instantly split open, fresh blood flowing down. Before Yiku could react, Yixuan had already leaned forward and rushed up, smashing a punch into his abdomen. PFFT. Yiku spat out a mouthful of fresh blood and flew backward, bent over. As soon as Yiku hit the ground, Yixuan planted a foot on his chest. Yiku stared fixedly at Yixuan. Impossible. Why is your collapsing fist so strong, you? Although he was the internal affairs elder of the Yi family estate and managed affairs inside the estate, his strength was not especially high. Still, he was in the Kai transformation realm. Yet he had lost to Yixuan in front of him with a single punch. Yixuan slapped Yiku hard across the face. Old man, you spend every day living comfortably in the Yi family estate. Your collapsing fist is as weak as a child's. I feel ashamed for you. Yiku glared at Yixuan angrily. You dare hit me. Yixuan slapped Yiku's face again. I am hitting you. Yiku's face instantly swelled. Humiliated by Yixuan in front of everyone, Yiku roared madly. Why are you still not acting? Lai Mu and the others nearby hesitated slightly. If they could act and win, perhaps they would act. The problem was that they could not beat him, insolent. At this moment, an angry shout suddenly rang out not far away. Everyone looked toward the sound. The great elder was rushing over, and behind him were several elders and guards of the Yi family estate. Yi Lion hurried to Yixuan's side. She tugged at the corner of his clothes and said tremblingly, Brother, you should run, hurry. Yixuan held Yi Lion's trembling hand and said gently, Don't be afraid. Yi Lion suddenly began to cry, It is my fault, brother, I dragged you down, I am so useless, I'm sorry. Yixuan smiled faintly, Don't be afraid. If the sky falls, Big Brother will hold it up first. After saying this, he looked at the Great Elder and smiled. Great Elder, let's make peace, I admit my mistake. How about we let this matter end here? The Great Elder laughed from anger, Make peace, let it end. Yixuan, are you dreaming in broad daylight, you? At this moment, Yixuan suddenly stepped on Yiku's throat. Crack. The sound of breaking bone rang out. Yiku's eyes widened, filled with disbelief. A moment later, the expression in his eyes gradually disappeared. Everyone was stunned. Yixuan looked toward the Great Elder. Since we will not make peace, then let us fight one-on-one. Under countless gazes, Yixuan walked up to the Great Elder. Great Elder, I, a junior, challenge you. Don't tell me you don't dare. The surroundings were so quiet one could hear a needle drop. A challenge. Yixuan challenged the Great Elder. The entire Yi family estate was shocked senseless. In the Yi family estate, the strongest person was naturally the patriarch, who was in seclusion. The second strongest was the family guardian Elder Yi King, but Yi King was also not in the estate. That meant the Great Elder was the strongest person present. And now Yixuan was challenging the Great Elder. Did he not know his own limits? Some people felt that way, but others felt that perhaps Yixuan truly could fight a battle. Yixuan had once been the person the Yi family estate focused on nurturing. Moreover, he had not spent the whole year living comfortably inside the estate like the Great Elder. Almost every day he lived on the edge of a blade. Ruthlessness and vigor were things the Great Elder did not have. In the eyes of the Yi family members, although Yixuan was only at the 5th stage unceasing realm, if he fought with his life on the line, he still had some chance of winning. Opposite him, the Great Elder stared fixedly at Yixuan. He had not expected Yikshuan to challenge him, should he agree or not. If he did not agree once this news spread, he would lose even more face. Not only that, his prestige within the Yi family would drop greatly, and afterward there might be people who refuse to obey him. Agree. Once he thought of Yikshuan's combat strength, he hesitated slightly. Although his realm was higher than Yikshuan's, it had been many years since he risked his life against someone else. He only occasionally sparred with people in the estate, and those sparring matches were always controlled. Yikshuan was different. Every time he fought outside, it was a life-and-death battle. The Great Elder understood very well what this meant. Moreover, even if he beat Yikshuan, outsiders would only say that he bullied the young with age. But if he lost, he would have no face left at all. At that time, even his position as elder would be hard to keep. The Great Elder's expression was extremely gloomy. Yikshuan had originally been at a dead end, but now Yikshuan had pushed him to a dead end. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out. "Do you and I not still have an agreement for 1 month later?" Everyone looked over. Yilang was slowly walking over from not far away. Yilang was now the heir of the Yi family estate. The Great Elder was about to speak when his eyes suddenly widened, filled with disbelief. "Yilang, have you reached the Kai transformation realm?" Kai transformation realm. Everyone around them was stunned. Under everyone's gaze, Yilang nodded slightly. "I am untalented. It took me a full 10 days to reach the Kai transformation realm. That is somewhat slow." Hearing this, everyone drew in a breath of cold air. This was still slow. One had to know that before Yilang awakened, he had only been at the 4th stage concurrent cultivation realm. Yet in only 10 short days, this Yilang had reached the Kai transformation realm. This cultivation speed could be said to be unprecedented in the Yi family. Hearing Yilang's words, the Great Elder suddenly laughed loudly. "Heaven blesses my Yi family, haha." Everyone in the estate was also overjoyed. With Yilang's cultivation speed, the Yi family would surely be able to become a great family of the present age in the future. Yilang looked at Yikshuan and said with a smile, "What qualifications do you have to challenge the Great Elder?" "Only after you defeat me will you have the qualifications to challenge him. There are less than 20 days left until our life and death agreement, are there not?" Yikshuan looked at Yilang and smiled. "Look at me, I almost forgot." After saying this, he looked toward the Great Elder. "Great Elder, I offended you quite a bit just now. After I finish my martial contest with your grandson, I will ask for your guidance afterward. Farewell." After speaking, he pulled Yilang and turned to leave. "Wait." At this moment, the Great Elder said angrily, "You killed an elder, do you think this matter?" Yikshuan suddenly turned and looked straight at him. "Great Elder, how about we fight one-on-one right now? Or your grandson can have his martial contest with me right now. Could it be that you and your grandson are afraid? So you deliberately sent Iku to find trouble with me, and then used that as an excuse to beat me to death? If that is the case, Great Elder, there is no need to go to such trouble. The two of you can attack together. I, Yikshuan, definitely cannot defeat you, The Great Elder was so furious that his face turned green. At this moment, Yilang looked coldly at Yikshuan. "Go. 20 days from now, we meet on the life and death platform." Yikshuan shrugged. "Great Elder, your grandson still understands reason. As for you, the older you get, the more muddle-headed you become." After saying this, he pulled Yilang and turned away. The Great Elder was furious. As if thinking of something, he looked toward Lai Mu and the others. "You are truly useless trash. You saw an elder being beaten and did not step forward to help. Men drag them out and beat them to death." Hearing this, the faces of Lai Mu and the others turned pale. At this moment, Yikshuan, who was not far away, suddenly stopped. He turned to look at the Great Elders. "Great Elders, let me offer a friendly reminder. Lai Mu and the others are the Patriarch's personal guards. Although you are the Great Elder, the Patriarch is not dead yet. If you touch his personal guards now, this matter." At this point, he pretended to be startled. Could it be that the Great Elder wants to act against the Patriarch? Nonsense. The Great Elder roared angrily. "Yikshuan, if you say one more word, today this old man will kill you even if I have to risk my life." Yikshuan smiled. Great Elder, calm your anger, I was only reminding you. Do not get so angry that you harm your health. Otherwise, I would be very happy, no, I mean very heartbroken. After saying this, he pulled Yi Lion away. Lai Mu and the others looked at Yi Xuan, their eyes filled with gratitude. If not for Yi Xuan's one sentence, they would probably have died today. The Great Elder was so angry that his entire body trembled. No one around him dared say a word. As if thinking of something, the Great Elder suddenly looked at Yi Lang. Why did you not immediately have the martial contest with him just now? Why drag it out until 20 days later? Yi Lang looked at the Great Elder and said softly, because I am about to break through to the Kai controlling realm. Hearing this, the Great Elder froze, then asked excitedly, truly? Yi Lang nodded slightly, I am about to break through. Otherwise, I would have killed him just now. Now is not the right time to act. I cannot let a minor figure ruin my breakthrough. The Great Elder hurriedly nodded, yes, yes. Let this Yi Xuan live a few more days. In any case, he has already become a cripple. Yi Lang nodded slightly. Now he is a cornered dog jumping over the wall. During this period, do not provoke him, lest others say that I, Yi Lang, fear him and deliberately sent people to trouble him before killing him. The Great Elder said in a heavy tone, this time I did not think carefully. Rest assured, within these 20 days I will not send anyone to provoke him again. Yi Lang nodded. Right, this time I will probably need a large number of spirit stones for my cultivation. The Great Elder looked somewhat troubled. Spirit stones were a precious type of crystal containing spiritual Kai, and the Yi family did not have many. Not only that, ordinary spirit stones were only for the patriarch and the heir to use. But Yi Xuan had never used spirit stones, naturally because they had blocked him from receiving them. Is there a problem? Yi Lang asked. The Great Elder shook his head. No problem, but I fear there are not many spirit stones left. Yi Lang smiled, do not worry. It is only the Kai controlling realm. I will not need many spirit stones. Hearing this, the Great Elder breathed a sigh of relief, then that is good. Yi Lang raised his head and looked toward the horizon. A mocking smile appeared on his face as he thought to himself, a remote and backward place. But it can still be used for the time being. Yi Xuan pulled Yi Lion back to his courtyard. As soon as they arrived, Lai Mu and the others also ran over. Yi Xuan looked at them. Coming to my place at this time brings you no benefit. Ever since he had been stripped of the heir position, the brothers who had once gone through life and death with him had almost all disappeared. Those people all understood that the future master of the Yi family would not be him, Yi Xuan, but Yi Lang. Lai Mu cupped his fist toward Yi Xuan. Brother Yi, thank you for what happened just now. Yi Xuan nodded slightly. You did not act, so I should be the one thanking you. Go back. If the Great Elder's people see you, you will be in trouble. Lai Mu hesitated for a moment, then said, Brother Yi, if you need anything in the future, just give the word. We brothers will not refuse. After saying this, he led the guards and turned to leave. Yi Xuan shook his head. Seeing him shake his head, Yi Lion held his arm and asked softly, Brother, do you not trust them? Yi Xuan smiled. If your brother is strong, what they said just now is true. But if I am weak and have no chance to rise again, then everything is false. Yi Lion looked at Yi Xuan and said with extreme seriousness, I am real. I will always stand by Big Brother's side. Yi Xuan laughed loudly and pulled Yi Lion into his courtyard. Just as they stepped inside, Yi Lion's body began to tremble violently. Not only that, cold Kai also began to spread from her body. Yi Xuan was alarmed. He hurriedly carried Yi Lion to the bed, then took out a white jade bottle and poured out a white pill for her to eat. After she swallowed the pill, Yi Lion's complexion finally improved a little. Yi Lion slowly opened her eyes. Her right hand tightly held Yi Xuan's hand, and her voice was as small as a mosquito's. Big Brother, I feel like I may not live much longer. If I die, can you keep my ashes with you? I want to stay by your side forever. You, do not speak nonsense. Yi Xuan suddenly shouted. He glared at Yi Lion. You are not allowed to die. I definitely will not let you die, trust me, I will absolutely cure you. When I reach the Kai controlling realm, I will take you to the imperial capital, all right. At this point his voice gradually softened, you are my only family. For my sake you must work hard to keep living all right. Yi Lion looked at Yi Xuan and her tears flowed down. Yi Xuan gently wiped the tears from her face. Do not cry. Crying too much will make you ugly. You still have to marry someone in the future. Yi Lion shook her head. I will not marry, I only like Big Brother. Yi Xuan smiled and said, silly girl. Come, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time there was a mountain. On the mountain there was a temple. 15 minutes later, Yi Lion fell asleep. Looking at Yi Lion on the bed, Yi Xuan's expression was very heavy, because recently she was sleeping longer and longer. Moreover, there were fewer than 3 pills left in his jade bottle. A moment later, Yi Xuan put away the jade bottle. He gently tucked the blanket around Yi Lion, then entered the world prison tower, training. What he needed to do now was quickly raise his strength. Reach the Kai controlling realm as soon as possible. Then bring Yi Lion to the imperial capital. In addition, the Yi family estate also wanted to kill him. 20 days later was the life and death martial contest. Not only might he die, his younger sister might die too. Yi Xuan was just about to look for that shadow to train when, at this moment, the mysterious woman's voice suddenly rang out. You can cultivate the hidden realm now. Yi Xuan was stunned. Hidden realm? What hidden realm? The woman answered. The physical body realm is divided from stage 1 to stage 6. But many people do not know that, after the 6th stage Kai transformation realm, there is another realm called the golden body realms. Only after the golden body realm comes the innate Kai controlling realm. Yi Xuan frowned slightly. Golden body realm. Senior, why have I never heard of it? She answered indifferently, I already said it is a hidden realm. Ordinary people know nothing about it. If you reach the golden body realm, your overall strength will at least double. Will you cultivate it? If you do not, when you look for spirit sword later, you can also skip this realm and step directly into the innate Kai controlling realm. Yi Xuan asked excitedly, my strength will double, really? The mysterious woman answered, of course. Yi Xuan quickly said, I will cultivate it, I will. The mysterious woman explained, there is already sword Kai inside your body. Although you cannot transmit this Kai outside, you can use it to stimulate the meridians and 5 viscera within your body. Before, your body was externally cultivated. Now this will be internal cultivation. Cultivating both inside and outside is perfection. But it will be somewhat painful. Yi Xuan waved his hand and said boldly, what is a little pain? I will begin. The woman said, good, it is very simple. You only need to activate that sword Kai and let it automatically spread throughout your body. Yi Xuan followed her instructions. Just as he sat down, his eyes widened. At this moment, Yi Xuan felt as though tens of thousands of needles were stabbing through his body, and he nearly fainted. Senior, this is what you call a little pain. Is it very painful? I thought it would only hurt a little. Senior, do not tell me no one has ever cultivated this hidden realm before. A very long time ago someone did cultivate it, but he died soon after. I thought it was due to another reason. Seeing you in such pain and being unable to help you, I can only use laughter to express my apology. He. Yi Xuan.